Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anywhere you're hearing me from all over the world. Welcome back to Let's Just Talk. It's Victoria, and I am going to be your host today. And with me, I have my co host as usual, Michaela.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Can't wait to get into this. We got a lot of stuff built up for y'all, so I can't wait.
Right. And especially today, we have us a guest. Okay, y'all, this is one of the richest madams in
Ah,
USA.
ah.
She she all right, I'm not gonna hype her too much. I'm gonna let her hype herself up before we get into it. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi guys, my name, as you most of you will know, my name is Maradan, and welcome to Let's Just Talk. And
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So guys, today we're gonna be treating a very sensitive topic. And I tell you, this is a topic that a lot of people are dealing with, and they don't have the nerves and guts and, the opportunity to talk about it. So we're going to be doing a lot of talking and everything. So today, the topic is going to be understanding concepts and breaking the silence of rape survivors. This is a very very crucial topic that I am really glad we're getting to talk about it today, because we have a lot of victims out there who cannot speak up for themselves, who are scared, who are, you know threatened by the people who actually made them a victim of rape. So I'm so glad that we have Miradan here, because this is her field. This is something she do with every day, all day, and she's here to enlighten us more. Are you ready, Miss Miradan?
yeah,
All right, so we're starting. First question for you, Miss Miradan. Can you please introduce yourself and share your background and expertise in this field of concept and supporting rape victims and survivors?
okay. Okay, so hi guys. My name, as you all know, would be Mara Alfred, and but short form Maradan, and I am a CEO and founder of Maradan Foundation, MDF for short. And so basically, a background about me: I was born in Nigeria. Enugu State, 042. Okay, but I grew up most of my life over here in the U.S., Boston to be precise. Then moved down to Dallas, and that's where my foundation is based on. And so, Meriden Foundation basically it's a women empowerment foundation that not just empowers women, but also youths and basically women that has gone through like rape, hash weathers, widows, and young young females. And that's basically a little bit about me and the foundation.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your expertise on um, rape survivors and victims and their concept also?
Okay, so I've worked with a few rape, not a lot. Let's say probably two, three, four victims. Some would be in Nigeria, some would be over here in the US. I do not want to call names. But I have had my share experience, not personally, but I have had my share experience when it comes to victims rape,
Right.
abuse, trauma, and things like that.
Right.
And like I said, I've worked with some of them in the past, and hopefully looking to work with most more in the future. Not saying I need more rape victims, but they are everywhere.
Right.
But yeah, I've had my own share of listening, guidance, coaching, and also care for rape victims out there. But yeah, that's
That's
basically
good.
it in a
That's a good
nutshell.
one.
mhm.
That's really good. I mean, at least we have somebody who's standing up for the rape survivors and victim, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, it's not
because
that easy. It's really not that easy because when it comes to rape victims, they are the most scared. Yeah, we have like abuse, yes, rape and abuse, almost similar things, but when
right,
it comes to abuse, abuse can be, physically or mental or otherwise. But when it comes
right,
to rape, there is no otherwise. It's always physically. So when it
right,
comes to rape victims, there are more how do I put it, tender basically.
right, right. True, you're right. I mean, we're glad that we have you. And just to kick this in, I'm an ambassador in her foundation. Okay, so I know about the foundation and I'm into it, and I trust. What was I gonna say? Trust me, she's doing a good job with it. Because I mean, I've been there for going on 2 years now, if I'm right.
Yeah.
2 years. We've been on it for like 2 years, and I mean, we're helping them women.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times where our help is not enough, but we're doing what we can. So
Well, yeah,
Yes.
we get in there.
yeah.
You'll make it.
Right, right. So I would ask you this: why is it important to have conversations about consent and the break of silence? And the break of silence for the rape victims and survivors. Why is it important that we have this conversation?
um it is very crucial to have a conversation about not just rape but also consent, because when it comes to consent, that's where we get to rape. If there is no
Right,
consent, if there is consent, there would not be rape. So
right,
it is very, very crucial and important, and it also it's a necessity to always seek consent when it comes to rape, when it comes to sex or any sexual intercourse for that matter, kissing, anything. Once it's a sexual activity, a consent has to be there. So
right,
once there is no consent, that is automatically rape.
right. Okay, right. You're right, Kayla. I'll let you go next.
Alrighty. Ready? Okay. So, my question to you, what are some common misconceptions or myths surrounding consent that you frequently encounter? And how do you address and debunk them?
So basically, it is important to provide clear and accurate information when it comes to consent and also rape. So one of the things it would be like consent is basically a necessity for certain types of sexual acts. And basically consent is required for any sexual activity regardless of the sexual act involved. And another thing is that consent is not only needed for the first time. Basically, it's not only needed for the first time when sex is being it wants to be had or when a sexual activity needs to be done. No, consent has to be on every sexual activity that occurs.
Right,
If, for example, even though we trying to have sex today or we had sex yesterday, you still have to seek my consent to know if I want you or if I want us to have the same thing we had yesterday. Yesterday
right,
is yesterday.
right,
Today is today. So any sexual activity that has to happen, a consent has to follow it on any day, on any activity, anytime and anywhere, to
right,
avoid that statement where that statement that comes in, which is rape.
right, right. So you're trying to say, like, so for instance, I mean, knowing fully well there are men out there who's gonna tell you, I mean, we just had sex because she gave me that body language that she wanted it. Is body language considered a consent
No.
or no?
No. Most people think body language is considered a consent. No. Most people think the clothing, flirting, things like that is considered a consent. No. When I mean consent, I mean a verbal approval that, okay, I want this, and okay, I am okay with this. That
Right,
I wear clothes or I wear like shorts and I wear like a tank top because it's hot outside doesn't mean I give you the consent to, have sex with me or kiss me or touch me in a way that I do not want to be touched.
right,
No.
right,
That be just because I look at you and you look good, or I look at you and I'm like, oh, you look beautiful or you look handsome. That doesn't mean I want to have sex with you, that is not a verbal consent. That is not a
Right.
verbal consent where a verbal speech or a verbal consent saying, okay, I need this or I want to go with this. No.
Right.
So clothing, flirting, body language, and all that, that is not a verbal consent when it comes to sex. When it
Right.
comes to a sexual activity, you have to verbally accept or consent to the fact that, okay, I want to have sex with you, or okay, I want to be touched, or okay, I want to kiss you,
Right.
something of that nature. But once there is
Right.
no verbal consent, then that is automatically called rape.
Right. Okay. Good. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
good explanation, because there are people out there who would tell you, I mean, I didn't rape her, or I didn't rape him. He flirted with me, or he had this body language telling me
Mm-hmm.
to come do it and all of that. And I mean, it's
Nope.
sad. It is
Very
sad.
sad. Very
It
sad.
is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, in your experience, what are some of the challenges that these survivors of rape face when it comes to reporting their experiences and seeking justice? You know, like when they're raped and everything, they want to talk to somebody, but they're scared because they feel like they're not going to believe them. They're not going to, there's a whole lot of scenarios like that. And there are a whole lot of rape victims like that who hasn't really spoken up because they feel like nobody's going to listen to me. Nobody's going to believe what I'm saying because, I mean, I don't look like somebody who has gone through that, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
act like somebody who has gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the challenges that they face physically, mentally, emotionally, in all ramifications? What are some of
So,
them?
like I like when we started this, when we started, I made a comment when I said, when it comes to rape victims, they're the
Hmm.
most tender,
Right.
because it still ties down to abuse. For example, when you being in an abusive relationship, or when you being in a very crazy and toxic relationship,
Right.
you might not have that ability to come out and speak up because you're scared. It's either you're scared of your partner or you're scared of something. That
Right.
same thing ties down to rape victims. They do not want to come out and say things because they are scared, they are tender, they are shy, and do not know how to basically speak up for themselves. And most of the challenges that this rape victims actually go through would be, most of them go through emotional challenges and psychological traumas. Like I just said, when it comes to speaking up for themselves, they don't have that ability to come out and be like, okay, I was raped, this person, because it's a hard thing to say. It's a
Right.
very, very, very traumatic thing to put in your mind. So once it comes to that rape once it comes to rape victims, they are most emotional, and they you can see that psychological trauma, because most of the times when you around them, they like, jump, or they're always scared or things like that. That is that trauma that they have gone through, because
Right.
with experiencing what they experience, that leaves a very crazy idea in your head forever, basically.
Right.
And so
Right.
the second challenge is that most of the rape victims actually face would be self-blame and stigma. So basically, and when I say self-blame is, for example, one of the most rape scenarios I've actually seen or witnessed or heard about, not witnessed actually, but heard about, would
Right.
be, okay, a guy invites me over to his house, and he's just like, okay, let's just, hang out, let's eat, something like that. And I come over to his house, and we're watching a movie and things like that. And maybe my body language, he senses my body language and thinks that, okay, this is what I want, when in my head that is not what I want.
Right.
Then whatever happens takes place and things like that. That female or that victim would not be able, once they leave that place, they would not be able to kind of speak up. They would blame themselves, like, oh, why did I go over to his house? It's my fault. If I hadn't go over to his house, this would have not happened, things like
Right.
that. So that is where we have the self-blame and the stigma that lives with being raped. And the
Right.
second thing that the third one that I would put into this would be physical injuries and health consequences. Most of the time when they go to the hospital, when it comes to rape, with the force and the force, the struggling, the stress and everything, you could have physical injuries, down there, physical bruises, things like that, pain. And that is something that nobody wants to go through, or nobody wants to see people that they love go through. And another one would be trust
Right.
and intimacy issues. When it comes to trust, they would not be able to trust anybody around them. Everything that happens makes them scared, makes them jump, things like that. And intimacy, when okay when they finally, when everything finally dies down and they finally be like, okay, I want to get into a relationship, an actual relationship, the intimacy might not be the same, because they have gone through that, and they have that traumatic idea in their head that, okay, sex, I've had this experience when it comes to sex.
Right.
And that affects everything. That affects your long-term relationship, short-term relationship, everything. It basically wrecks your whole life,
Right.
because you're thinking, because once something affects your head, your brain, your thinking, your psychology, it damages and it messes everything up,
Right.
basically. And another thing would be your impact on daily functioning. They would not be able to basically function. It still ties down to everything that we just spoke about. Other challenges, you will not be able to function. No intimacy, the physical bruise, the trauma, the stigma, everything that ties down to you not being able to function like you were able to before that incident happened.
Right.
So
Right.
that basically that lives with you for the rest of your life, I must say,
Yeah.
because that is a stain
Right.
that is there, that might not be able to be washed out with detergent, jig, or whatever. It's a
Right.
stain that is there, and it's not going to go away no matter how much you try to make it go away. it's
Right.
it's it's there. And the last thing would be, the legal and justice system barriers. That's where you have like the court issues, then the police cases, and then most of the times then you have the newspaper publications, things like that, that lives with you, that haunts you for the rest of your life, basically. So with these few things, this would be, and many other challenges, these are just the few challenges that I was able to kind of put together. But they face even worse and more challenges than that we imagine. So
Right.
when it comes to rape victims, they are the most tender of them all, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you think we could create a supportive environment for the survivors to feel safe and empowered to share their stories? How can we create like that environment where they can talk to somebody, they can feel like they got support, because I mean,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, all these people needs after going through that traumatic experience is support. They need a whole
Yeah.
village who is there for them, to talk to them, to comfort them, to
Yep.
be around them, to let them see that they're better than what they've experienced and everything. So how can we really create like a supportive environment for them?
Okay, so one thing, it would be one of the things that we basically can do would be, believing and validating survivors. So basically, by listening to them, and because when it comes to speaking, when it comes to rape survivors actually speaking out to you, most of the times they might not want to talk to you, because they are scared that we might not believe them. So,
Right.
actually assuring them and actually believing them. When it comes to rape, I don't care how little it is. I don't care if you're joking. I don't care if you're just making it up. But once I hear the word rape, I take it serious, because I want to find that person that that is affected. I want to talk to that person. I want to make that person understand that I actually believe that person. Because once you believe that person, they just want that belief, they just want that tenderness, they want you to listen. So
Right.
basically, by listening to them and by assuring them, by standing by them, that is one thing, that is one way that we could actually help them more.
Right.
that is
Right.
that is basically everything that we could do about it. Yeah, we have other ways that we can help them, like empowering them, counseling, things like that. But actually listening to them is one vital key. Because I have noticed that, or rather I have done my research. Yes, we have other organizations, so many organizations out there that actually listens or actually help rape victims. But I've actually researched and understood that not all rape victims are heard, not all rape victims are stood by, not all rape victims are understood. Some of
Right.
them are actually blamed, like, oh, it's your fault. If you did not go there, this whole thing would not have happened. No,
Right.
nobody has in back of their head that, okay, I'm going over to this guy's house, I'm going to be raped, so please know that I might be raped. Nobody thinks about that, nobody believes that, nobody expects that. That is
Right.
something that is not being expected. So actually listening to them and
Right.
hearing them out, believing them that, yeah, even though most of the times they might, most females or most people might, try to cry rape because of some certain, ways or living, or ways that they are, that they want to change, or things that they don't like. They might actually cry rape forcefully, or yeah, falsely. But we still have to listen to them, no
Right.
matter how. Yeah, you still have to listen for you to actually detect if it is the truth, or if this person is making it up. But listen, believe, stand by them, and empower them, basically.
Right. Right. That's really, really good. Because I mean, I know a few people who, if you tell them about rape, they just close their ears to it because they believe, well, if you didn't put yourself in that situation, it would happen to you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
because
actually got told that in my situation by a friend, surprisingly, but yeah, that was tragic.
I know.
yeah,
Can I am really sorry you had that experience. I am so sorry you had that experience. But um it is a lot out there, like nobody listens to, like, it would surprise you that nobody listens to these rape victims, nobody believes them, nobody stands by them. They're like, oh, like, but you look at what you wear, you said you they raped you, but you're naked, you're wearing shorts, your whole body is out. Like, can't I dress sexy just because I'm scared, like, that I might get raped? Is that what you're trying to let me know? Like, I can't dress good to go out and look good for myself? Do I have to kind of watch what I wear just for me not to be raped? That should not be a thing. That should
yeah,
not be a thing. I should not, compliment a guy who looks nice, or a female, things like that, just because I to avoid getting raped. That does no. You still
yeah,
have to live your life to the fullest, and you should live your life to the fullest and not get scared that, oh, something of the sort might happen.
right,
So
right.
I am really sorry, my love, that you went through that. But that person that
Thank
told you
you.
that does not have you. Like, they
Oh
don't they
yeah.
don't have your back. Because someone who has your back would listen to you, would understand, would analyze, and also then now know how they could help you and how they could empower you. But if you
Right,
don't listen to
Right.
a rape victim, how would you know if it's the truth or not? If you don't
right,
at least have that benefit of the doubt, or, and actually investigate what the issue is, like, what happened, how would you know if the person is telling the truth or not? So
true.
even if most people cry rape, listen to them, interact, ask questions, investigate, and know if it's a lie or if it's the truth. And then if it's a lie, then, well, okay, fine, you did your best. But what if you didn't do anything, and if it's actually a truth? Because most of the times rape victims have that's when you see a high chance of, suicide, and people, killing themselves and try to just eliminate their life because nobody listens to them. And that trauma that there's that trauma that you have when you're trying to be you when you're trying you telling people something, and something like, oh, something is going on with me, and they're not listening to you, or they're not trying to actually listen to you and investigate what what are you talking about? Okay, what is this person talking about? Is this real? Is this the truth? Okay,
Right.
if it's the truth, how do I figure that out? What do I do? Like, that's how we should think whenever a rape is cried out. Like, whenever rape is cried out, we should listen, we should investigate, we should watch, we should understand, and then analyze, and then try to help out the best way we
Right.
can. Because if we don't help out, we might lose each other. Like, we might lose people, friends, because we're not trying to listen to them, we're not trying to ask them what the problem is, we're not trying to investigate if they're okay or not, we're not trying to actually know if that rape cry is actually the truth
True.
or it was just
Right.
made up. So
Right.
yeah, listening is a vital key when it comes to every rape victim, or
Right.
every, I'm not going to say every rape victim, but every cry of rape.
Right. Right. True. Over to you, Kayla. I'll let you take it up.
Okay. Consent education is crucial in preventing sexual assault. So, what are some effective ways to educate people about consent, particularly in schools and communities?
um One of the ways basically would be, comprehensive sexual sex education. So teaching like basic, no matter how little. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. All right, I will use my family as an example. Though, even though I don't like bringing in my family in most things, but I will use my family as an example. My brother, my little brother, he is 12. So one day, I was talking to my mom, and my mom was like, "Oh, your brother called me, and he was like, oh, it's mommy, it's standing. What do I do? I've been trying to put it down, but it's standing. What do I do?" So one other woman beside my mom overheard that conversation, and while my mom was like, "Oh, don't worry, you okay?" Like, trying to explain what was that, like, because he didn't understand what was going on with him. But while my mom was trying to kind of, making him understand what that is, another woman was like, "Oh, why would you say that? Why would you talk about, sex and things like that with your kid? Like, he's too little, he's just 12." No, he's not too little. The earlier, the better.
Yeah.
Because at that, he is 12, and he's already saying like, oh, he's already having that arouse, or sexual arouse, or how do I put it? Like, he's already being aroused. So without you giving them that vital sex education, and what it is, and how it is, everything that has to do with a good comprehensive sex education,
Mhm.
they would not understand what that is, and that might affect them in the long run, and they might go outside and learn of one or two from people that, or from their co-mates, that really still don't understand it, and they might actually learn about it in the wrong way, because you can actually learn about sex in the wrong way.
Right.
Mhm.
You can actually learn about sex in the wrong way, and that's where we have so many things. That's even where we have the rape. That's how the whole rape situation, when they do not understand what that is, or
Right.
how that is, or how to control that, or how to go about it. So actually providing a comprehensive sex education, that would be the number one key in actually, kind of, I would put it, eliminating, the cry of rape.
Right.
Yeah.
And the second one would be, the clear definitions and examples, which also still ties down to, what I just explained to you about with my brother. It still ties down to the definition and explanation and examples. I just gave an example, like, if my mom wasn't able to kind of, okay, I understand what is going on with you, but this is what it is, this is what it is, this is how you can do it about, I don't think my brother would be able to understand what that is. And I don't think he would be able to know, or how to, or I'd start understanding it from a tender age, and know that, okay, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, and this is ugly.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
understand? And then another one would be, most, when I say role playing and scenarios, they might be like, oh, you want us to role play and say no. There are comprehensive sex educations with role plays and scenarios that you could watch. So that is another way to actually eliminate this. So basically, when it comes to role play, it's basically engaging individuals in interactive activities such as role plays and scenarios to illustrate different consent situations. So that is one another way we could go about it. And another way would be open dialogue and discussions. So basically encouraging open dialogue and discussions about consent in schools, community organization, and workplaces. That is also a way that we can kind of educate people about sex and consent and how and also rape. And another one would be basically media literacy, critical thinking, and so more. Like we have books everywhere. We could read, we could, research. That's where you can have the computer. That's where, yeah. But I'm not saying go watch blue films though. But I'm saying research, read magazines, movies, things like that, just to have that understanding of what
Right.
consent is and what an actual consent is. And when I said an actual consent, a verbal consent is.
Right.
That is where you understand what is right, what is good, what is bad, and what is ugly. If we do not read, study, research, we're not going to know basic things or few things that we know at this point. So
Yeah.
these are ways that we could actually understand consent and how to rightfully get a consensual basically sex basically.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Okay, that sounds good. What are the resources and support available for this rape victims and survivors? How can we get them access to it? Is there like specific NGOs they can go to? Can you give like certain names? Is there books they can read? Is there where they can go to get support and like resources after going through that traumatic experience? Because I mean, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it sticks to them, it stays with them, it changes their mindset at the end of the day, and they need the support and resources to get back on their feet, to get back to being who they were before this experience, even if it's not like totally, but at least to a point we need them to get back mentally. So like, where can they get these resources? Is there certain NGOs here in the United States, in Nigeria, where they can, can you
Okay.
just, yes.
Yeah, there's so many NGOs that actually support, that support rape victims and actually help rape victims. For example, my NGO, Marathon Foundation NGO, that is number one. That you can always reach out back to us, email, reach out back to us, social media platforms and everywhere like WhatsApp. We are ready to listen to you. We are, or rather, I am ready to listen to you. I am ready to interact with you, understand you, and help you in any way you want to. And help is needed, basically. And another NGO, there's so many apart from my NGO, which is Marathon Foundation. You can also go to the RAIN, which would be the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. That would be over here in the US. We can always put that down on the YouTube, or we could always put those down. And we have the
Yeah.
Survivor Trust Network NGO, which is also here in the US. And another one, we have the Women Against Rape, which would be the WAR. And this one would be based in the United Kingdom. So we have a lot of NGOs that that could support you, not just support you, that could help you, that could not just support you but listen to you. Because like I always say, the key to helping every cry of rape is listening. Because if you do not listen, there's no way you can help these people. So we have so many ways, so many networks, so many platforms on how to help rape victims. Like I said, apart from my NGO, there are so many NGOs in the US, there's so many NGOs in Nigeria, there's so many NGOs even in the United Kingdom, all over the world. You just
Right.
have to do is pull out your computer. If you have issues, pull out your computer and research and read. And if you need help, you could call. You could always call me. You could always reach out to me, Marathon Foundation, or you could call anybody. You can call my ambassadors for help. We are everywhere in the US. We are in Texas, we are in Atlanta, we are in Nigeria, and also we are everywhere basically.
Right.
And like I said, research. There are so many NGOs that are willing to help you, that are begging
Right.
you to come to them, instead of taking your life, instead of self blame, if instead of uh being unhappy, talk, speak out. People are there to listen to you and understand you. And
Right.
please, our fellow NGOs, foundations, supporters, listen. When anybody comes out with a cry of rape, it is serious. It is serious and it happened. And all you can do for these people is to listen. Listen, 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 and understand. If you don't listen, you will not understand. And if you don't understand, you will not analyze. And if you do not analyze, you will not solve. And if you do not solve, you cannot empower. That's just
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So, are there any specific legal or policy changes that you believe would improve the support and justice system for rape, for the survivors of rape? Like, is there any change in the law you think, like, so, the way, like, let me say Nigeria,
Mhm.
yeah? If you go to the court, and I mean, I stand to be corrected. I'm not a law student, so I don't really know too much about it. But if you go to the court and you report being raped,
Mhm.
they handle it with, l- is it, they don't care. They handle it carelessly, like they don't pay attention. And when they eventually get to it, they're blaming you. They're telling you all sort of things that could not be avoided. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for instance, you go to, let me paint a scenario. Something happened when I was in college. I was working. No, I was walking down the street. It was late at night. I had gone to get something, and I was walking back home, I think, and I was double crossed by two people who 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 for some reason, I don't know if they weren't normal or something, but I got double crossed by two people, and I was taken to somewhere I didn't know. Okay. And I'm trying to be so careful that I'm not putting out like vital informations out
Mhm.
there. But I was taken to somewhere that I didn't know, I didn't recognize. And, you know, whatever led to whatever, I mean, I'm glad I'm okay. I wasn't killed, nothing happened to me. But when I eventually got out, and I didn't even go to the court. I went to my religious head in school. And he looked at me and said, well, maybe if you weren't out at that time, that wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
And he also said, well, I always tell you about your outfits as well, but you never listen. And at that point, I mean, I didn't need nobody to fight for me, but I just needed somebody who could like tell me it wasn't your fault. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
you didn't cause this on yourself. It just happened because whoever they were wearing right upstairs, or
Yeah.
But I didn't get that. It was like blames upon blames upon blames upon blames. And I had to hold on to it. The only person at that point that supported me was my cousin at that time and
Mm-hmm.
one of our other friends. And they were mad and pissed and everything. But then I'm thinking, there are other ladies who worse would have happened to, who would have even gotten pregnant, they would have given birth. But these people are not going to listen to them, or they're not going to see a reason to want to listen to them just because they think they did, it's their fault. So
Exactly.
like, is there any law you think can help these people, the survivors?
Honestly, let me go back to what you just explained right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go tying down everything that I just said. When it comes to self blame, he should not have blamed you. We females, let, don't get me wrong. Even guys get raped. Even
Yeah.
guys get raped. But I'm going to say I'm going to just put it. We females should not have to, watch how we walk, watch how we, always be so conscious of everything, like we wear. Are you saying that we're not allowed to wear shorts or when we're hot? Are you saying that we're not about to wear like tank tops when it's hot outside, just because we do not want to be blamed if something of this nature happens? That should not be it. That should not be the
Right.
case.
Right.
That should not be how every female thinks. It is not. One thing I tend to say, it's not anybody's fault, or rather it's not the victim's fault when they get raped. It is never their fault.
Right.
No matter how, yeah, most of the times we want to dress sexy, we want to show boobs, we want to show this, but we should be able to still do that without watching who is following us or looking out at our back all the time. No, it should not be like that. And answering the question that you just asked me about what can be done to the law, or what else can the law do when it for the rape victims, or when it comes to cry of rape.
Right.
Honestly, I know I'm not too much into the sector of law. I'm not a law person. I do not like law, because when it comes to the law is not accurate.
There's a lot of loopholes. I'll
Exactly.
put it that
So
way.
exactly, it is
Yeah.
not accurate. But
Hmm.
most of the times when a female calls to, for example, when a female calls to for help, on calls a cop or something, the police station or something, for help, cry of rape. Most of the times you see, or rather, let's say 50% of the time, not all. It depends on the stage you are. Not all times are you being hurt by the police.
Right.
Not all times will the police rush down coming there.
Right.
I don't know about any other every state, but I know some states are like that. They will not talk to you. They do not give two hoots of who you are. They don't want to listen. And if sometimes, even if they come, they mostly sometimes adhere to, okay, he's a guy. What are you looking for? Is it in his house by this time of the day? If you're not in his house, this would not have happened. You, as a police officer, should not be asking me that question.
Right.
Do you think, or do you feel that or are you saying that I cannot visit somebody, or I cannot go for an appointment with somebody, just because I do not want to be seen as a flirt, or I do not want to be seen as the cause of me getting raped or being raped?
Mm.
It should not have to be like that. So
Right.
honestly, apart from talking to people, apart from actually finding, because right now the word is turned, in a way whereby not everybody believes what you say. No matter
Yeah.
how truthful you are, not everybody is going to believe that that is the truth. So it
True.
just still ties down to finding who believes you, no matter how much they try to discriminate you, or no matter how much they try to be like, oh, you're telling lie, like it's your fault, da 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 da. Yes, I understand, but still open up, talk, because you bottling everything inside, when it's time for it to explode, it could explode to whereby it gets you affected. And something you do not want to get is affected when it comes to an explosion of feelings.
Right.
And
That's
can I just say
something.
something? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead. Oh, so I think that with most police officers, another thing, some like when rape victims do come forward, um, police will sometimes turn them away because in most cases you're finally in the courtroom, the rape victim and the person who raped them, and all of a sudden they just back out. They want to
Hmm.
drop the charges because they
Yes,
might be scared of something.
exactly.
And some part of that
And they
scenario
do
is
not
why
want
the
the press
police
to know.
officer
They do
don't
not
take
they
you
never
serious.
want the press to know that
Mhm.
something like that happened. That's one reason that most of those people can tend to cover it up. They do
Mhm.
not want everybody to know, because it depends on who committed the crime, or who is the perpetrator, or who is it is. Not every police jurisdiction supports it, or even helps out, or even listens, especially when they see that a female is involved. In some countries, US, yes, when it comes to United States, in some countries in United States, in some states in United States, do not take rape, a cry of rape, seriously.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't really think, the only thing that has to be done is listen. I still keep emphasizing the word listen, because if you don't listen, I don't. I don't know where, if there was no listening, I don't know where would, if there would be any understanding.
Mhm.
So it
Right.
just still ties down to listening. And when it comes to the victims, report it. Talk to people. Find someone who find someone who you're comfortable to talk to.
Right.
It still comes down to comfortability. Find someone who you're comfortable to talk to, who you're comfortable to be around with, and someone who listens and pay attention.
Right.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
that is basically everything that we have to do. That we have to do for the law. We can still try to report it. We still do need to report it, because rape perpetrators do not have to go scot free. We still have to
Right.
report it, but most of the times, or rather majority of the times, we might not be heard, but still speak up,
Right.
because no matter how much people are not listening to you, there is one person still listening to you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is, in a crowd, when someone in a crowd, when, for example, let in the church, when the preacher is preaching, not everybody in that church is listening. Not
Right.
everybody in church is listening, but one person is paying attention. So even if rape victims keep talking and nobody wants to listen, keep talking. Someone is paying attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone is listening. Someone is paying attention. It would be so surprising, and it would be so shocking to know that someone is actually listening.
Yeah.
So report it, talk, and find who you're comfortable with. Share your
Right.
story. I know how much is hard, but share your story. Someone is listening. I am listening.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Well, we have come to the end of this week's section. Do
Can I
Kayla, do you have anything?
question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So, what do you say about the so obviously we look on the news and stuff and all these rape victims coming out years later. What do you say about that? Why does it take them so long to come to that conclusion? Is it because it's a recent report actually of Bill Cosby? A woman came forward and saying she got assaulted in 1969. So, what do you say about the rape victims who wait that long?
I would say do not wait that long, but when it comes to rape victims that wait that long, it still ties down to self blame and stigma.
Hmm.
Not
Yeah.
everybody would want to come out and be like, I was raped.
Right.
I, I'm, I'm, I, I'm not praying for it, but if I should get raped, I don't think, no matter how much I talk about it right now, if I should get raped, I don't think I would have that boldness, that
Hmm.
strength to come out and be like, you know what, I was raped. Nobody wants to talk
Right.
about it so casual,
I
you
just think
know?
it's, I mean, with me, I think it's just fair. Like
Exactly.
they're scared. They're scared of what the
Hmm.
outcome would be. Would they
Exactly.
listen to me? Would they believe me? Would they help me?
Yep.
I mean, why put yourself out there if you're not sure they're gonna help? When it's looking
Exactly.
like they're not gonna help and they're just gonna make fun of you, they're just gonna laugh at you.
Or listen to you. Nobody
Right.
would listen. Yeah, so it's just
So
fear.
I just feel it's fair that really holds them back from coming out.
But I say, no matter how long it takes you to talk, you know what, I respect those ones that take so long to actually come out, because I don't know how they were able to get that boldness and strength to finally come out and be like, okay, I was raped, but I did not want to say it.
Hmm.
So I actually think it's just that trauma, that self-blame, that fear, that stigma
Hmm.
Right.
that makes them not want to come out and say, oh, I was raped, and then wait for a whole long ass time before they be like, okay, I want to actually say this, I was raped.
Right.
So it's that fear, it's that stigma. What would people think? Would people listen to me? Would people agree with me? Would people understand me? So
Right.
it all ties down to that. And what I say to those people, yes, people would listen to you. People would understand you. People would hear you. If people do not hear you, Marathon Foundation is here to listen to you.
Right.
Yes.
So come on up. We are
Right.
on all platforms. We're on Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, name it, Facebook, and we have a website, marathonfoundation.org. Just come and I will listen to you.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Miradan, for coming on today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Kayla, for hosting with me as usual. All right, we've come to the end of this week's episode. Just to let y'all know, this topic is a series. We have 4 parts to it, so you're still gonna see Miradon at least one more time. We're gonna have other people come, but Miradon is still gonna come back one more time on this topic. So we come to the end of this week's episode. You can always follow us on Instagram and TikTok at less_just_talk 001. You can find us on YouTube at Let's Just Talk with Victoria. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Music and Apple Podcasts at Let's Just Talk. But until we see you again next week, next time, same time, 5 p.m. on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a good week. We love
See you
you.
later.